Welcome back to Starz Recapped, the channel where we break down your favorite movies into exciting and easy-to-follow stories. Today, we're diving into a family sports comedy from 1993 that's packed with laughs, heart, and a whole lot of baseball magic, Rookie of the Year. This movie follows a young boy named Henry Rowengartner, an ordinary kid with a big dream of playing professional baseball. But everything changes after a strange accident that gives him a superhuman pitching arm. Suddenly, this small-town kid is thrown straight into the spotlight, joining the Chicago Cubs and becoming an overnight sensation. But fame, pressure, and grown-up decisions aren't so easy when you're just 12. So grab your popcorn, sit back, and let's step onto the field as we relive this fun and inspirational underdog story. This is Rookie of the Year, explained by Starz Recapped. We begin in the heart of Chicago, near the famous Wrigley Field. A young kid named Henry, along with his buddies George and Clark, are racing toward their school baseball game. This match is a big deal. Henry believes today might finally be his moment to prove himself as a real player and earn a spot in the starting lineup. On the way, he bumps into his mom, Mary, who cheers him on and tosses him a bottle of sunscreen. But Henry completely misses the catch, a clear sign that his skills still need a little work before he can call himself a pro. When the game starts, Henry isn't on the field. He's sitting on the bench, waiting and hoping. And then, an unexpected chance shows up. The team's catcher starts sneezing nonstop due to a cold, and the coach calls Henry in to play. Excited, Henry rushes into the field, but as soon as the ball is hit, things go downhill. Henry runs as fast as he can to grab it, but instead of making the play, he slams right into the fence and takes a tumble. His cap falls over his eyes, blocking his vision. He finally gets a hold of the ball, but ends up throwing it completely out of play. Because of that mistake, the team loses by a single run. And with that, Henry goes right back to the bench, unsure if he'll get another chance anytime soon. As if losing the game wasn't enough, Henry goes home to another problem: Jack, his mom's new boyfriend. Henry isn't too happy about this relationship. He still holds on to the memory of his dad, and to keep that connection alive, he wears his father's old baseball glove to every game, no matter what. The very next day at school, Henry spots Becky, the girl he's secretly crushing on. Trying to work up some confidence, he prepares to talk to her. But before he can say much, one of the players from the team starts teasing him for yesterday's embarrassing mistake. And to push it further, the kid challenges Henry to prove himself, to pick up a baseball and show everyone his throwing skills. Trying to impress Becky, Henry takes off running with full determination. But his plan falls apart in an instant. He steps on another baseball that was lying on the ground, slips and crashes down, landing hard on his arm. The accident dislocates his shoulder, and after the hospital visit, he ends up in a cast that keeps his arm raised in a pretty awkward position. For 4 long months, Henry is banned from playing baseball, and with his arm stuck up like that, everywhere he goes, he becomes the target of jokes, stares, and laughs throughout the entire school. After months pass, Henry finally heads back to the doctor to get his cast removed. The doctor tells him to slowly test his arm and see how it moves now. At first, everything seems normal, until Henry lowers his arm and accidentally snaps it forward with surprising power, smacking the doctor right in the nose. Henry is quick to apologize, but the doctor realizes something unusual. During the healing process, Henry's tendons seem to have tightened and strengthened far more than before. After the checkup, Henry meets back with his mom, Mary. Before heading home, she surprises Henry and his friends, Clark and George, with 3 tickets to watch their favorite baseball team, the Chicago Cubs. Overjoyed, the boys rush straight to Wrigley Field to catch the game. They especially want to see their idol, pitcher Chad the Rocket Steedman. Chad used to be famous for his unbelievable fastballs, but after a shoulder injury, he hasn't been performing like he used to. Once the game begins, Chad throws a pitch, but the batter sends it flying into the stands, where it lands right at George's feet. Following stadium tradition, any ball hit by the opposing team should be thrown back onto the field. George hands it to Henry, letting him do the honors. Henry steps up, ready to toss it casually, but something feels different. There's a strange, sudden energy in his throwing arm. Then, whoosh! Henry launches the ball at an insane speed, sending it rocketing across the field and straight into the catcher's glove in a split second. The crowd is stunned. People around Henry are speechless, amazed by what they just saw. Cameras, fans, and even staff start trying to talk to him, Overwhelmed, Henry panics and bolts out of the stadium. But word travels fast. Henry's incredible throw catches the attention of Larry Fisher, the Cubs' team manager. Realizing what this could mean for the team, Larry immediately sends his assistant to track down the mysterious kid with the unbelievable arm. After the big discovery at the stadium, Henry and his friends rush home, eager to test what just happened. They grab a ball and head outside to see if Henry's incredible throw was just luck or something more. Sure enough, when Henry winds up and lets one fly, the ball shoots through the air so fast that Clark and George can barely even see it. The power behind his throw is unreal. Meanwhile, Henry's mom, Mary, arrives home with Jack, her boyfriend. When Jack sees Henry's unbelievable pitching skill, his eyes light up with dollar signs. He immediately claims he can help and declares himself Henry's new agent. Without wasting any time, Jack contacts the Chicago Cubs, setting up a meeting for the next day. Soon after, Jack takes Henry to meet Sal Martinella, the team's head coach. At the stadium, Sal brings out a radar gun to check the boys' throwing speed, and the results leave everyone speechless. Henry's pitches clock in at over 100 miles per hour, faster than most professional players. Impressed by this once-in-a-lifetime talent, manager Larry Fisher wastes no time. He officially signs Henry as the newest member of the Chicago Cubs and even adds him to the starting lineup for the team's next big game. When game day arrives, Henry and his friends, George and Clark, show up at the legendary Wrigley Field. But the fun doesn't last long. The stadium's janitor stops them, saying only players are allowed inside. Disappointed, the two friends have to stay outside while Henry is led into the locker room. Inside, Henry can hardly contain his excitement. He's surrounded by real Major League players, including his idol, Chet the Rocket Steedman. But instead of welcoming him, the team mostly ignores the young rookie. They're not exactly thrilled about sharing the field with a 12-year-old. Still, Henry stays positive and proudly puts on his uniform for the very first time. Then comes the moment of truth, his Major League debut against the New York Mets. The crowd roars as the game begins, but things don't go well for the Cubs. Rocket struggles on the mound, and the opposing hitters keep sending his pitches flying. The fans grow restless, chanting for Henry to take over. Finally, the manager makes the call. Rocket is pulled from the game, and Henry, the kid everyone's been talking about, steps onto the field for the first time, surrounded by the thunderous cheers of thousands of fans. The game kicks off again, and all eyes are on Henry. Taking a deep breath, he winds up for his very first professional pitch. He gives it everything he's got, but the ball doesn't have the speed he hoped for. The batter easily connects, sending it flying and allowing the opposing team to score. Feeling the pressure from the roaring crowd, Henry prepares for his second throw, but his nerves start to get the better of him. The ball slips off course and nearly hits his own catcher. The audience gasps, and Henry's confidence begins to crumble. Trying to shake it off, he focuses for another pitch. Yet once again, the batter makes contact. The opposing player takes off running around the bases, threatening another score. Just when it looks like disaster, the Cubs fielders scramble and manage to snag the ball in time, stopping the runner just before he reaches third base. Despite the chaos, the Cubs manage to pull off a close win. The crowd cheers, but everyone knows Henry still has a lot to learn before he's truly ready for the big leagues. Coach Sal assigns Chet, the Rocket Steedman, to train the rookie and help him sharpen his skills. But there's a catch. Chet wants nothing to do with babysitting a 12-year-old. That is, until the manager gives him a choice: train the kid or pack your bags. The next morning, Henry is back at school. Even though his big league debut didn't go perfectly, he's suddenly the center of attention. Everyone's talking about him. And even Becky, the girl he likes, seems amazed that he's now part of a professional baseball team. But despite all the excitement, Henry isn't letting fame get to his head. Deep down, he just wants to be a regular kid, hanging out with his friends and living a normal life. After class, he and his buddies George and Clark decide to work on their latest project, building a small boat together, just for fun. Later that evening, Henry heads back to Wrigley Field for his first real training session with Chet the Rocket Steedman. At first, Chet isn't thrilled about coaching a kid, but as the session goes on, he starts to see something special in Henry. The boy's natural speed and determination remind him of his own younger days on the mound, back when he was the one everyone looked up to. A few days later, the Chicago Cubs hit the road for their next big matchup, this time facing off against the San Francisco Giants. As the game begins, it's clear things aren't going well. Once again, Chet the Rocket Steedman struggles on the mound, forcing the coach to call in Henry to take his place. Now, with the crowd watching and pressure building, Henry steps up, ready to show that his training has finally paid off. But as he winds up and delivers his first pitch, it goes completely off target, hitting the batter right in the leg. The fans groan, and Henry's nerves start to rise again. Sensing the kid's frustration, Chet walks onto the field to calm him down. He tells Henry that fear is something everyone feels, even the best players. But real strength comes from pushing past that fear and trusting yourself. With that bit of advice, Chet heads back to the dugout, unsure if his words made any difference. Henry, meanwhile, doesn't fully understand what Chet meant. But the break is over, and he has to focus. The next batter steps up, and Henry takes a deep breath. He throws again. This time, the hitter makes contact, but the ball doesn't go far. The Cubs' infielders react quickly, catching it before it touches the ground and stopping the Giants from scoring. The crowd erupts, cheering for the young pitcher who just helped save the game and maybe started believing in himself a little more. That last pitch completely changes the mood in the stadium. The players can't believe what they just saw. And for the first time, Henry starts to actually believe in himself. The nervous kid who once doubted his abilities now feels a spark of confidence. Back on the mound, Henry gets ready for his next throw. This time, he channels all his focus, winds up, and fires a fast one straight into the catcher's glove. Strike one. The crowd erupts with cheers. He goes again. Strike two. The opposing batter doesn't even have a chance. With everyone on their feet, Henry launches one final pitch and nails strike three. The game is over, and the Cubs take the win. The whole team rushes the field, celebrating with Henry. For the first time this season, the Chicago Cubs have pulled off back-to-back victories, and their youngest player is the reason why. After the game, Henry heads to the locker room to change. When he opens his locker, he finds something unexpected. A baseball signed by Chet the Rocket Steedman himself. The small gesture makes Henry smile. It's clear that his childhood hero is finally starting to respect him. Later, Henry joins his mom, Mary, and his friends in the stands. The three of them start tossing a ball around on the field, just having fun like any other day. From a distance, Rocket watches with a smile. Mary approaches and thanks him for encouraging her son during the game. Rocket nods, saying, "Henry's got something special, a good heart, real passion, and the kind of talent that could make him one of the greats someday." A few days later, it's time for the Cubs to hit the road again. This time, they're flying to Los Angeles for their next big game. At the airport, Henry's mom, Mary, gives him a warm goodbye and, just like before, tosses him a bottle of sunscreen. But this time, Henry catches it effortlessly, a small sign of how much he's grown. With a smile, he waves goodbye and heads off to join his team. On the plane, Henry finds himself sitting next to Chet, the Rocket Steedman. During the flight, he thanks Chet for the autographed baseball and admits that he's been his biggest hero since he was little. Chet chuckles, but gently tells Henry not to call him Rocket anymore. Ever since his shoulder injury, he hasn't been able to throw the way he used to, and the nickname only reminds him of what he's lost. Chet opens up a bit, explaining that even though he had surgery, there's still a risk. If he pushes too hard, he could damage his arm permanently and be forced to leave the game forever. Henry listens quietly, still looking up to him with genuine respect. Once the team lands in Los Angeles, they head straight to Dodger Stadium for the next matchup, the Cubs versus the Dodgers. The stands are packed, and once again, Henry wows the crowd with his incredible pitching. Seeing the boys' confidence and growing talent, the coach decides to take things up a notch. This time, Henry won't just pitch. He's going to step up as a batter. Chet isn't exactly thrilled about the coach's decision. He knows Henry's still new to all this, and stepping up to bat against a professional pitcher could end badly if things go wrong. But the coach insists. Henry's up next. Before the boy heads to the plate, Chet tries to calm him down. He tells Henry to relax, keep his bat low, and focus on the ball, but no matter how fast it comes at him. Taking a deep breath, Henry walks up to the batter's box. The opposing pitcher, not taking him seriously, decides to show no mercy. He throws his best fastball straight toward the plate. Henry flinches and swings too early, completely missing it. Strike one. The crowd gasps, and Henry tries to shake off the nerves. The pitcher winds up again, firing another one right past him. Henry misses once more. Strike two. Pressure is building fast, but then, on the third pitch, the ball veers just outside the strike zone. The umpire calls it, and Henry gets a walk to first base, buying his team a little breathing room. As the next Cubs batter steps up, Henry decides to have some fun. He starts teasing the pitcher, throwing him off his rhythm. The plan works. The pitcher gets flustered and loses focus. His next pitch goes wild, and the Chicago batter smashes it deep into the field. Seizing the moment, Henry sprints with everything he's got. First base, second, then third. The crowd goes wild as he slides in just in time, scoring the winning run for the Cubs once again. The team celebrates, the fans erupt, and Henry proves that even a rookie can shine when it matters most. After that incredible win, the Chicago Cubs go on an unbelievable streak. They stay undefeated for the rest of the season. Thanks to Henry's amazing pitching and quick thinking, the team finally earns a spot in the World Series, something fans have been waiting for all year. When the team lands back home after another big game, Henry's mom, Mary, is waiting at the airport. But as soon as she spots him, she's surrounded by a crowd of reporters and photographers trying to get the latest scoop on the Cubs' young star. Luckily, Chet steps in, helping Henry slip past the press, and together they reunite with Mary. The three quickly escape into a limo waiting outside. That evening, they attend a celebration party hosted by the team. As the music plays and the mood lightens, Henry subtly leaves his mom and Chet alone, hoping they'll finally connect. And it works. The two start growing closer, laughing and talking comfortably for the first time. But not everyone's happy about it. Jack, Mary's boyfriend, notices their bond and becomes visibly jealous. Meanwhile, team manager Fisher pulls Jack aside with a shocking proposal. He's received an offer from the New York Yankees to buy Henry's contract for a massive $25 million. On top of that, Jack would earn a 10% cut of the deal. Jack agrees instantly, but on one condition: that Chet be removed from the team. Fisher doesn't hesitate to accept. The next morning, Henry is busy filming a TV commercial, completely unaware of the shady deal being made behind his back. With all the fame and new commitments, he starts drifting away from his old friends George and Clark. Later that day, when he finally shows up at the lake to help finish building their boat, it's already done, and George is furious. George confronts Henry, accusing him of forgetting his friends now that he's famous. He even tells Henry that he only made the team because of his freak arm injury, not his real skill. Hurt and angry, Henry snaps back, and the two end up in a heated argument. It quickly turns into a physical fight until Clark steps in and manages to break them apart. But the damage is done. Their friendship falls apart, and Henry storms off back to the locker room, feeling completely alone. Things take another bad turn when Chet is called into Fisher's office. The manager coldly tells him that he's being benched for the rest of the season, claiming his performance is no longer good enough. Deep down, Chet knows it's Jack's doing, but he keeps quiet, not wanting to burden Henry with the truth. After practice, Chet quietly drives the boy home, hiding his own disappointment behind a forced smile. When Henry gets home, he runs straight into Jack, who's waiting with an attitude. Jack tells him to hurry up and change. They've got another photo shoot to attend. But this time, Henry's had enough. He pushes back, saying he's tired of all the public appearances and just wants to hang out with his friends like a normal kid. Jack doesn't take that well. His temper flares, and he demands Henry do as he says. But Henry stands his ground and fires back. "You're not my dad!" That hits a nerve. Jack snaps and blurts out something he shouldn't, that even Henry's mom doesn't know who his real father is. What Jack doesn't realize is that Mary is right behind him, hearing every word. Furious and heartbroken, she confronts him on the spot and tells him to get out. When Jack refuses, she punches him square in the face and kicks him out of their lives for good. Henry can't believe what just happened. He's shocked but proud of his mom's strength. Once things calm down, Mary sits with Henry to finally talk about his father. But Henry gently stops her, saying he already knows how the man left when she was pregnant. Still, he tells her it doesn't matter, because she's always been both his mom and his hero. Mary is deeply touched, and the two share a warm moment, finally reconnecting as family. Feeling better, Henry decides to make things right with his friends too. He heads down to the lake, where George and Clark are finishing up the boat they'd been building together. George still seems upset, but after a short pause, he invites Henry to join them. The three climb in, fire up the motor, and start cruising down the river. Along the way, they spot Becky standing on the shore with her school friends. Without thinking twice, Henry invites her aboard. Soon, they're all laughing and enjoying the day. No fame, no cameras, just friends having fun. That little trip makes Henry realize what truly matters: family, friendship, and the people who've been there from the start. The next morning, he heads to Wrigley Field to talk with Bob Carson, the team's owner and Fisher's uncle. Henry thanks him for believing in him, but says he's decided to step away from baseball to focus on the important things in life. Bob respects the boy's choice, but makes one last request: for Henry to play in one final game, the one that could send the Cubs straight to the World Series. Soon after, Henry finds out about the secret plan to sell him to the Yankees. Shocked, he goes straight to Mr. Bob, the team owner, to ask what's going on. Bob is just as surprised. He had no idea any deal was being made behind his back. After looking into it, Bob uncovers the truth. Fisher and Jack were the ones pulling the strings, trying to cash in on Henry's talent for their own gain. Furious at the betrayal, Bob immediately fires Fisher from his position and promises Henry that he'll always have a place on the Chicago Cubs. As things settle, Bob also reinstates Chet, giving him another shot as the team's starting pitcher in the upcoming final game. At first, Chet feels the pressure. It's been a long time since he's had to prove himself on the mound. And Henry steps in, reminding him that this is his moment to show everyone what he's truly capable of. Finally, the big day arrives. The Chicago Cubs face off against the New York Mets, with a spot in the World Series on the line. The crowd roars as both teams take the field. The tension so thick you can feel it in the air. Chet steps onto the pitcher's mound, takes a deep breath, and focuses. This time, there's no hesitation, no fear. With a powerful throw, the ball rockets straight toward the catcher. Strike one. The fans erupt in cheers. Not done yet, Chet throws 2 more perfect pitches, locking in 3 strikes in a row and sending the batter back to the dugout. The crowd goes wild, chanting his old nickname, Rocket. Henry watches proudly from the dugout, smiling as his idol regains his confidence. The Cubs continue to dominate the game, keeping a strong lead over the Mets, as the dream of reaching the World Series grows closer with every pitch. As the tension builds, it's time for Rocket to take the mound again. But this inning won't be easy. He's facing one of the Mets' strongest hitters. The crowd goes silent as Rocket winds up and fires the pitch. The batter swings hard and connects, sending the ball flying past the fielders and scoring a run for the Mets. The miss rattles Rocket, and as he resets for another pitch, he suddenly feels a sharp pain shoot through his shoulder. That old injury coming back at the worst possible time. Still, refusing to give up, he grits his teeth and throws again. But the ball misses the strike zone, letting the Mets batter take first base. Seeing his pitcher struggle, the coach signals for a change, but Rocket shakes his head. He wants one last chance to finish what he started. Against better judgment, the coach agrees. Everyone in the stadium watches as Rocket digs deep, summoning every ounce of strength left in his arm. He winds up and delivers. The batter swings with full force, and the bat shatters into pieces. The ball lands in play, and despite the pain, Rocket charges after it. He grabs the ball and races toward first base, just beating the runner by a split second. The crowd explodes into cheers as Rocket pulls off a heroic play, giving everything he has for his team. But the moment comes at a cost. His shoulder gives out completely, and he has to step off the field, leaving the game in Henry's hands. Now it's Henry's turn to take the mound. Inspired by his idol's courage, he steps up and throws one strike after another, pushing the Cubs closer to victory. Everything seems to be going perfectly, until fate strikes again. While running back to position, Henry accidentally steps on a stray baseball and slips, crashing onto his arm, the same arm that gave him his pitching power. Just like before, there's a loud crack. His tendons snap back to normal, and when he tries to throw again, the ball barely moves. The crowd falls silent, unsure of what just happened. Henry tries his best to hold on, but it's clear his pitching power is gone. Every ball he throws misses the strike zone, and the Mets are just moments away from taking the win. Realizing brute strength won't help this time, Henry calls the team together for a quick huddle. The young pitcher says he has a plan, something completely different. Back on the mound, Henry takes position, but as luck would have it, the next batter is none other than Hito, the Mets' most feared hitter, a man famous for never missing a fastball. The pressure couldn't be higher. Still, Henry stays calm and decides to try something clever. He goes for a changeup, pretending to throw with full force, but instead releasing the ball at a slow, unexpected speed. The crowd gasps as Hito swings early and completely misses. Strike one. Henry smirks. The trick worked once, so he tries it again. This time, Hito connects, but the hit sails way outside the foul line. Strike two. One more to go. Before the last pitch, Henry takes a deep breath, trying to think of one last move. That's when he notices something on his baseball glove. The old name tag is peeling off. Underneath it, he spots another name written faintly in ink, Mary, his mother's name. That's when it hits him. The glove had always been hers. She's been his biggest support from the start. With renewed confidence and emotion, Henry steps back onto the mound for the final pitch. The crowd holds its breath. Hito readies his stance, expecting another blazing fastball. But Henry does something completely unexpected. He tosses the ball softly into the air. Hito swings with all his strength, but completely misses. The ball lands perfectly in the catcher's glove. Strike three! The stadium erupts in cheers as Henry outsmarts the Mets' best player, securing the Cubs' victory in the most unforgettable way possible. And just like that, the Chicago Cubs pull off an incredible victory, finally earning their long-awaited ticket to the World Series. The entire stadium explodes with cheers as the team rushes toward Henry, lifting him high in celebration. To everyone watching, he's not just a kid anymore. He's the hero who made the impossible happen. A few days after the big win, Henry keeps his promise and steps away from the professional spotlight. Instead of playing for fame, he goes back to where it all began, the local school field, surrounded by his friends. His arm might not have its superpower anymore, but his love for the game hasn't faded one bit. Now playing as a catcher, Henry shows how much he's learned. He catches a huge home run hit, earning cheers from George, Clark, and Becky, who watch proudly from the sidelines. In the stands, Mary and Chet, who's now the new coach at the school, smile as they see how far the boy has come. Henry lifts his glove in victory, proudly wearing the World Series ring gifted to him by the Chicago Cubs, a symbol of the unforgettable season that changed his life forever. And that wraps up the heartwarming story of Rookie of the Year, a film that reminds us that dreams can come true in the most unexpected ways. From an ordinary kid to a baseball legend, Henry's journey proves that courage, friendship, and belief can turn any setback into a victory. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another amazing story explained by Starz Recapped. See you in the next video.